questions. Senator Canavan.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Minister. Mr Betts, I was just wanting to go to the outstanding questions on notice. Are you aware that 1 month after supplementary budget estimates were due to be submitted, only 43 had been received and a massive 237 out of 280 was still outstanding?
So what does that relate to?
The tabling of the questions on notice to the Senate.
That wasn't my understanding of where we were at. I thought we had a...
1 month after estimates, when they were due to be submitted.
By the due date.
By the due date, not as of today's date. So the due date was the 31st of March, where 280 questions were outstanding, and 1 month later, after the due date, there was still 237 questions outstanding.
Right. Well, as I've said, Senator, we will always endeavour to provide as much information as we can, as soon as we can. In some cases, that involves providing information through our Minister's office, but we will always endeavour to provide information as soon as we can. My understanding is that as of today, there are only 11 outstanding, which we'll endeavour to clear as well.
Yeah, so Ms Bridger, maybe you can confirm that a month after the due date for supplementary questions on notice, there was still 237 out of 280 outstanding.
I couldn't confirm that exact figure, Senator. Sorry, Marie Bridger, Chief Operating Officer. But I do know that we did get a lot of questions last time round, and it did take us a while to come back and answer all of them.
So by the 10th of May, after the budget had handed down, there was still 19 responses outstanding, and there's still 11. Are these still sitting in the department, Ms Bridger?
I'd have to take that one on notice.
I think you know whether they've been sent up to the Minister's office or not. That would be key.
I think it's a bit of a mix. I think there's some with us and probably some with the Minister's office.
Could you please give me the full list of dates on which draft responses were first submitted to the relevant Minister's office for review?
Yeah, I'll take that one on notice. The dates of the drafts, I would have to take that on notice. So the date that questions on notice were due, yep.
280 questions remained unanswered.
Yep.
A month later, 237 still remain unanswered. The budget comes down. We've still got questions unanswered. I'm trying to find out whether it is the department that is slow to answer. Like, where is the QONs? Where are they? And how many are still in the Minister's office, and how many are still to be answered by the department?
So I think we understand the question, and we'll take that answer on notice.
Is it because you don't know the answer?
In my case,
that sort of
yes.
level of record keeping of where the QON's answers are?
It's because we don't have the information, or I don't have the information to hand, so I'll take it on notice and I'll provide you with the fullest information that I can.
Will I have to wait? How long will I have to wait for that QON to be answered, Mr Betts?
I don't know. I'll provide you with the information as soon as I can.
I hope that will be... that is a simple question to answer within a department, where the QONs are. They come up in a little plastic pocket, they sit in your in tray until some advisor reads it, puts it in the Minister's tray to tick it off, and then it gets submitted to the Senate. So you can't answer where the questions on notice have been or whether they are on their way.
I've undertaken to provide you an answer on notice.
Were the majority of answers drafted prior to the due date of the 31st of March?
We don't have that. I don't have that information at hand, Senator. So again, we'd have to take that on notice. I just don't have the... It would be a huge table of where things are and they go backwards and forwards sometimes, so I don't have that table with me.
As a result of QON 160, which were due on the 16th of December, I understand that 220 out of the 245 answers had been provided to the Minister prior to the deadline. So it wasn't the department issue. And there were actually 149 that had been provided by the end of November, which is actually 2 weeks prior to the deadline. So your department has a great track record of actually getting answers to questions on notice to the Minister's office in an appropriate timeline. You're able to give me that information about the last level of QONs, but I'm seeking the same level of information to this. Were you as efficient in answering questions this time as you were previously, as the history of the department shows?
So we've indicated we don't have that information readily to hand. I'm not going to offer up false information on the fly. I'd rather take the time to get the answer right and provide you with that information, as I've committed to do, as soon as I reasonably can.
So what is the process in answering QONs within the department?
So normally they come in through to a central point, they get distributed across the department, they then get answered, then I, as the Chief Operating Officer, would clear them before they leave the department. They go back through the central area and then they go up to the Minister's office for clearance.
And Ms Bridger, do you have timelines on the answering and drafting of those responses for your staff?
Essentially, we ask that it be done as quickly as possible, but we don't have a set turnaround time for an area to do something. It depends on the nature of the question. Sometimes it requires quite a bit of work and sometimes it's something we already know. So there's no set service level per se for it to go from one spot to the next.
So the department doesn't expect the questions that the Senate has for it to be answered by the due date?
We expect that it be done in a timely manner and we do what we can to...
Timely manner, or is the department...
To meet the deadline.
Is the department official aware of when the due date is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And is the expectation that the answer will be drafted by the due date, or with enough time, as has previously been the practice within the department, that it's ahead of time, so that you can actually get that clearance out of the Minister's office in respect of the Senate?
The expectation is that we will meet the deadline, and if we can, do it ahead of time, that is fantastic.
So what was the deadline set?
Well, that's the date so essentially it comes through, as I said, the process, and we try to do whatever we can to meet the deadline set by the Senate, by the committee.
So all your officials are very aware of the deadline of the Senate?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
are they respectful of that deadline?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yep. And so how many... Can somebody let me know today how many of the questions your team sent up to the Minister's office respectful of that deadline, and how many remain in the Minister's office?
Yep, sure.
Versus the 11 that we have?